Hello YouTube, it is your boy B3 back with another kicking, you guessed it, TOKU TV review. Today we are doing Power Rangers Dino Force Brave. I know what many of you may be thinking. What is Dino Force Brave? That's not a Power Ranger season. Well, maybe not in the West. But Korea has Power Rangers as well. But instead of making a new show out of existing footage, like we do here in the West, Korea just dubs Super Sentai and calls it Power Rangers because Power Rangers is cheaper to license than Super Sentai. And they licensed Power Rangers, they licensed Zuden Sentai Kyoryuger, which we have reviewed, into Power Rangers Dino Force. But the toys sold just so damn well that Korea was like, we need more Dino Force. So they made Power Rangers Dino Force Brave, a completely Korean Sentai Power Ranger series. Yeah, it's completely Korean. Korean actors, Korean language, Korean locations. It's all Korean. Now, lots of the costumes and props and stuff are from Japan, and the licensing is from Japan. It is officially licensed. This is an official sequel to Zuden Sentai Kyoryuger that takes place in Korea. And it's pretty cool. All the costumes are a bit different. They all have this white on them and new dino symbols, because they did this weird thing with the Zords where the dinosaur that their Zord is now doesn't match what their helmet is, which is weird. The only ones that match are gold and red. The others are all mismatched now. Don't ask me why, because I honestly just don't know. That's just how they decided to do it. But, yeah, all the Rangers have this new white sort of look on them, this new white paint job with their regular colors. But gold looks exactly the same. Gold looks exactly the same like he did in the Sentai. But his Zord looks a little different. The Zord's also got some repainting. And also the Zord's got some new weapons and stuff. So the Zords look actually a lot more different than the Rangers themselves do. Which is interesting. We only see 6 Rangers in the show, even though Kyoryuger like broke the record for number of Rangers, or good Rangers, until they were beaten out. But yeah, you only get to see 6 in this show. And the show's very short. It's 12 episodes, that's it, and each one is about 12 minutes long, so you could finish this show in a sitting. You really could. I took a couple days with it, just because I like to savor it. I don't like to rush through TOKU, especially since I have a learning disability, and which makes subtitles difficult. But it was a very interesting show. Not near as good as Kyoryuger. Sorry, guys, but, I mean, it's faithful in theme and in concept, but it's just not near as good. It doesn't have the time to be near as good. It's really, it just exists to sell more toys. They just recolored the toys, basically, and resold them to the kids. That's basically what happened here. And it worked. And I kind of wish they would have made more toys, because Korea really only made toys for the Zords and the roleplay items, and they didn't make toys for the Rangers. So if you want toys for the Rangers and their looks from this show, I mean, Gold, you can just get a figure of him in his normal look, because he didn't change any. But if you want the other Rangers, you have to have them customized. It would be an easy customization. It's literally just a repaint. But, so any, you know, any talented customizer could do it. But I mean, it's still a lot of money to be spent to customize something that's essentially just a repaint. I would have liked some figures of it. We'll never get any, but I would have liked them. You know? And the show itself is really fun. Not terribly much character progression. Gold gets a lot of character progression. The other Rangers get a little bit. I mean, but mostly in regard to Gold's character, because Gold is really the second most important character in the show behind Red. The story mainly revolves around Red and Gold. Because, spoiler alert, you see it coming from a mile away, so the spoiler alert doesn't really matter, because it's very obvious. Red and Gold are brothers. They're brothers. Ta-da. So it's mostly about their drama. But, yeah, so Neo Debos shows up, which is just a group of a few villains, the leader and his generals. There's no monsters of the week in this show. They're just fighting the leader and the generals, which is honestly totally fine. You know, it seems like something's missing, because it is, but it doesn't feel like something's missing. Like when you're watching the show, they're just fighting the generals, and it's totally fine. I mean, it's only a few episodes, so they really fill out the roster. And the generals and stuff are all made from the suits of Kyryuger villains, which is fine. But they're just made with recycled suits. But they all look good. None of the villains look bad. The leader looks great. Deosaurus, or whatever his name is. He looked wonderful. He was an all-original suit, I think. And remember, all this footage is original Korean footage as well. Very, very cool. The choreography was just as good as Super Sentai. Like, it really was. And so was the music. They really went hard on the music. Lots of the songs and stuff were just the same as Zuden Sentai Kyryuger, but it's got a really dope opening theme and a fun closing theme that the kids get to dance to, because the kids get to dance to the end of Super Sentai, you know. It was just a really fun show. I really had a lot of fun watching it, and I would totally watch it again. What I need to do one day is watch all of Kyryuger and then immediately start Dino Force Brave. That would be interesting. I mean, it probably wouldn't change much, because there's not a lot from Kyryuger that's really carried over. And also there's this weird thing I want to complain about. In the end, Torin kind of like just turns to energy and disperses away for no reason and just kind of leaves them. And it's really weird. And he kind of leaves... he just kind of leaves them alone, and they all go their separate ways in the end, except Red and Gold, who are actually reunited by the end. And then if you stay after the credits in the final episode, it reveals Jungle Force, or whatever they called that season in Korea. I've only seen one episode of that season, and it wasn't the first episode. But, yeah, Power Rangers Dino Force Brave is a fun little show. If you watched Kyryuger and wanted more, lucky you. There's more. So you actually can enjoy them for just a little bit longer. So, that's it for today, I guess. It's a really fun little show. You can watch it in an evening. And I got more coming your way. I'm going to do Eco Ginder. I'm going to do Go Busters, as I always say. Kamen Rider Ghost. I'm close to finishing that. It's taken me forever because it's boring. But that's it. Thank you all once again for your support, and I'll see you all next time.